There are people today who keep asking themselves why life feels delayed, why opportunities seem to pass them by, and why, despite their effort, they cannot move forward at the pace they expected. But what if the problem was never laziness, lack of talent, or bad decisions? What if unseen spiritual forces were working behind the scenes, manipulating time itself and slowing the journey God designed for you? Today, we uncover a hidden reality many ignore. The truth that some battles are not physical, some delays are not natural, and sometimes you are not late because you failed. You are late because something was assigned to steal the time meant for your destiny. There are battles in life that most people can see, but there are also battles happening in places the human eye cannot recognize. Many people wake up every day wondering why progress seems so difficult, why doors that should open remain shut, and why they continue moving in circles while others advance with ease. What many fail to understand is that destiny is deeply connected to timing, and timing is one of the greatest targets of spiritual attack. There are forces that understand if they cannot destroy a person completely, then delaying that person becomes the next strategy. Because when time is interrupted, purpose begins to feel distant. And when purpose feels distant, people slowly begin to lose confidence in what they were meant to become. Witchcraft has long operated through manipulation, and one of its most dangerous operations is interference with divine timing. The enemy understands that every person has seasons appointed for growth, opportunities prepared for elevation, and moments designed to bring transformation. But when dark spiritual forces interfere, those moments can become delayed, creating frustration and confusion in the life of the individual. Years begin to pass without visible progress. Prayers seem unanswered, and effort no longer produces expected results. The tragedy is that many people start blaming themselves without realizing there may be forces intentionally working against their forward movement. And what should have taken months suddenly begins to take years. But here is what every person must understand today. Delay does not mean defeat, and interruption does not mean destruction. Just because your journey has been slowed does not mean your destiny has disappeared. The moment hidden attacks are exposed, their power begins to weaken, and what was meant to hold you back can no longer control your future. Never mistake delayed progress for a cancelled purpose, because what was written for your life still carries power. Your clock may have been touched, but your destiny still remains alive. And when truth rises, time begins moving again exactly as it was always meant to. So many people spend years believing they are the reason their lives are not moving forward. They look at missed opportunities, repeated disappointments, and unfinished dreams, then convince themselves they simply were not good enough. Society teaches people to blame lack of discipline, wrong decisions, or personal weakness whenever progress feels delayed. But the truth is not every setback begins in the natural world that we can see with our eyes. Sometimes there are deeper forces working silently behind the scenes, creating patterns of frustration that seem impossible to explain. What appears to be ordinary struggle can actually be evidence of an unseen battle designed to slow down the journey toward purpose. And many people remain trapped because they never recognize what is truly happening around them. There are spiritual forces that work with one assignment, And that assignment is to create cycles that keep a person stuck in the same place for years. A person can work hard, stay committed, remain talented, and still find themselves repeatedly blocked every time progress begins to appear. Doors open for a moment and suddenly close without explanation. Relationships that should bring growth begin falling apart unexpectedly. Opportunities seem close enough to touch, but somehow disappear at the last second. After experiencing this enough times, people begin losing faith in themselves and questioning whether success was ever meant for them. Yet sometimes the problem is not lack of effort, but resistance operating beyond what the physical world can reveal. This is why you must never define your future by what current circumstances are showing you. Just because life has been filled with repeated delays does not mean you were created to remain behind forever. There are moments when what looks like personal failure is actually a hidden battle against your advancement, and recognizing that truth changes everything. The moment you understand that every struggle is not self-created, you stop living under false guilt and begin reclaiming your confidence again. Never allow temporary delay to convince you that your purpose has disappeared. What was meant for your life still exists, and no unseen force has the authority to erase what was destined for you. One of the greatest lies people begin believing after years of delay is that much time has already been lost and nothing can ever be recovered again. They look at their age, compare themselves to others, and feel as though life has moved ahead without them. Dreams that once felt close begin to feel impossible, and the future starts looking smaller than it once did. But what many fail to understand is that delayed time does not mean destiny has ended. Even when years have passed without visible progress, the purpose attached to your life still remains alive. What has been slowed down in one season can still be restored when the forces causing that delay lose their power. There is something powerful about the moment a person awakens to the truth and understands that lost time is not always permanent. Spiritual interference may have created obstacles, distractions, confusion, and seasons of stagnation, but none of those things carry the authority to permanently cancel what was assigned to your future. What seemed like endless waiting can suddenly shift when hidden attacks are exposed and broken. Doors that remained closed for years can begin opening faster than expected. Opportunities that disappeared can return in new forms, and progress can begin moving with a speed that makes up for everything that once seemed stolen. The years may have been interrupted, but the promise connected to your destiny was never erased. This is why you must never surrender simply because life feels delayed. The story is not finished just because progress has been slower than expected. There is always power in restoration, and what seemed permanently lost can still return with greater strength than before. Your future should never be measured by how long you have waited, because destiny does not disappear when time is interrupted. The moment truth replaces fear, confidence returns, and the journey begins moving forward once again. What was stolen can be restored, and the purpose written over your life can still unfold exactly as it was meant to be. In the end, every person listening must understand one powerful truth. If your life has felt delayed, if progress has seemed slower than expected, and if you have spent years wondering why everything around you appears stuck, do not be quick to believe that your story is over. Not every delay means failure, and not every setback means you were destined to remain behind forever. There are battles that can interfere with timing, seasons that can feel stolen, and forces that attempt to make people believe they have missed their moment. But no delay has the power to permanently erase what was written for your life. The greatest mistake anyone can make is surrendering to the belief that lost time can never return. Your destiny is greater than the obstacles that tried to stop you, and your future is bigger than the years that seemed wasted. What was interrupted can be restored. What was delayed can begin moving again, and what looked impossible can still unfold in ways beyond imagination. Never allow temporary darkness to convince you that your purpose has disappeared. Remember this always. You are not late. Your time was challenged, your journey was resisted, but your destiny still remains alive. And the moment the battle is broken, everything meant for your life begins to move exactly when it was always meant to happen.